Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today I am taking a look at XRP and just wanted to touch bases here on a potential bearish move, potentially. And the only reason I say that is because of this right here. So, taking a look at this structure is just a bigger structure when looking at this. And you may say, well, how so? Well, I just wanted to show you this right here. Check this out. So, if you're holding XRP, everybody wants to see this monster move, right? We want to see the monster move. So the question becomes is how do we get that monster move? Well, we have to figure out what happened before this monster move. And to me, this monster move right here was basically a lot of sideways chop and then an explosive move to the upside. And it's similar to what's happening here. We have a lot of sideways chop. So you would think, okay, an explosive move to the upside. But then you're going to ask yourself, well, you just said a bearish move. What does that mean? Well, if you take a look here, let me put a channel on, it'll be better. From here to here, and then I'll go up. And I just want to zoom in on this so you can see. And basically, what we have here is a rise, a bull market, right? Crash, retrace, reaccumulation, and then we're going in this sideways ascending channel, right? So and then obviously here's the explosive bull move, right? So now we need to figure out, okay, here's the explosive bull move. What happened right before that explosive bull move? Well, we could see here that XRP was in this ascending channel, right? Going sideways, 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 just like what we're doing right now, right? But here's the thing. Look what happened to the channel, right? And by the way, this is a Wyckoff accumulation as well. You could see price coming up, price coming back down, price going up, and then it goes into its spring phase. But notice what happened here. That is the golden ticket. That is the key to this whole mystery, right? Now, does that mean that's got to happen this time around? No. But it's worth taking consideration that something like that could be coming, especially when you compare it to what's happening today. So take everything off, and I'll just basically draw one trend line from this low all the way up right about there. And you can see what happened right here. So fair enough. And then basically, you know what this is a liquidity grab. So you see here this black line, this rising trend line. What is that? That is demand. That's the demand line. And prices in accumulation going sideways, right? So the demand is building and building and building. The problem is the rich guys. It's always the rich guys. It's always the big whales who sort of wash out positions. And, that's why they're rich, right? Because they know how to play the game. So think about it from a wealthy perspective. If you have $10 million, $20 million, $5 million, whatever, and you want to buy XRP because you are anticipating this monster move coming, you can't just simply purchase it right on the spot market. I mean, I guess you could if there was enough liquidity, but the way you can do it is if you sort of engineer a liquidity line. And that's what trend lines are. They're basically, a lot of times, trend lines are meant to be broken. Resistance lines, support lines, trend lines, right? They're there as a guide, but oftentimes they're basically planted on purpose so that when, theoretically, when people see that, they say, okay, we're on support, I'm going to buy. When we break through resistance, I'm going to buy. If we break below resistance, I'm going to sell, right? So so if you're a rich, wealthy guy, you understand that perspective. Okay. So when we're bouncing on this trend line here, and that's what Wyckoff accumulation is. It basically is a liquidity grab. It allows the whales to fill up their bags without having to worry about not getting their orders filled, right? So basically, we have this move up, this move down. Same thing here. We have this move up, this move down. Then we have this other move up without breaking this high. Same thing here. We have this move up without necessarily breaking this high. And then this is the most critical part, which is the spring phase. And notice how the spring phase broke below the support line. Same thing here. We have this pretty awesome looking spring. It's orderly and not erratic, right? And then what happened? Boom, we have this big wick. And it took out this low, this low, this low, this low. It took out every low. And what happens is when you take out the low, like I said before, all the people go short, all the people, a rush of liquidity enters the market, a massive influx. And all that liquidity gets absorbed into supply, and that supply is then absorbed by the whales, right? The Mr. Whales out there. So then that's what happens. And once they absorb that supply, then all of a sudden the demand goes up, right? Because the supply is shrinking. And then you get this big explosive move to the upside. So that's usually how it happens. And what do they call that in the retail world? A fake out before a breakout. You know how they say a fake out? This was a fake out, right? But there's more to it than a fake out, right? It's like, if you're in like a homicide detective show. I usually like those type of shows, and the police find a body, but it's more to it than just a body, right? You got to do an autopsy on the body. You got to find out what happened to that individual so that you can go and catch the person who did it, right? And a fake out is just like a dead body, but there's just more to that dead body than that meets the eye, right? So all these detective shows, they got thousands of detective shows out there, and there's so many different stories and things like that, and it's all trying to put the puzzle pieces together. And that's kind of how like TA is in a way. You're sort of plugging in clues, right, without having to smell any corpses or anything, right? It's sort of a clean job versus a messy job, and I that's why I like looking at charts, because it's like putting the pieces together. And the big thing for me is money, right? That's why we're all here, is so that we can get paid at the end of the day, right? And increase our wealth position in this inflationary world that we're trying to beat and overcome, right? So for me, this monster move is what I want. And trying to figure out what happened before that is none other than this right here. So taking what we know now, right? Price breaking below, grabbing all this liquidity, taking out all these highs or all these lows, whales absorbing it. Then all of a sudden, price reverses quickly, right? And then people who shorted are like, wait a minute, what happened? We see what happened. We usually, right, when price is going, you break a trend line, you think, okay, we're going down. And that's what happened. We went down, but look it, we shot right back up. So that's why trend lines are not so ideal and perfect, right? In a perfect world, maybe they'd be perfect. But trend lines, like I've said, are meant to be broken. Basically, those lines are just engineered for perception, right? And so when we look at what's happening today, right? When we look at what's happening today, you can see something very, very similar, which is what? You have a bull market, you have a bear market. Same thing here. You have a bull market, you have a bear market. And then you go into a retracement and then reaccumulation. You go into a retracement and then reaccumulation. And then we see this right in here, right? Which is what? Basically, it is a rising ascending channel, basically a sideways reaccumulation base, right? And it looks like, strong, super strong support, just like back over here, super strong support. But when I draw this trend line here, right, and there's a couple different ways I guess you can draw it. And for me, it's about getting the most possible touches, right? So something like that. So now when we go back and look, we can see almost basically, essentially, a perfect match. But there's one thing missing. Can you figure that out, what that is? There's one thing missing. And that is the liquidity grab. The whales, the big whale out there hasn't packed his baggies yet because he's waiting for something like this. Now, that doesn't mean it has to happen, right? There could be enough volume in the market to fill the orders. There could be enough demand to hold the supply, or enough demand to hold the price, right? But, oftentimes, here's your trend line, right? And then boom, it breaks to the downside, just like this example over here. You have this spring, you break to the downside, you grab that supply, you grab that liquidity, which then allows the price to pump up, just like the price of theta I was looking at yesterday. So now this is what we want to see, something like that. So just take a look at that for a second. Doesn't that look unbelievably like the perfect match? It's like, you know, you just dusted for prints and you found the fingerprint, right? And now you're putting that fingerprint through the system and you got a match. You got almost a perfect match, right? So you have a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, ascending channel, liquidity grab, blast off. Same thing here. You have a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, ascending channel, right? But what do we need? We need the liquidity grab and we need the blast off. So if we don't get that liquidity grab, I still think we can still get a blast off. You don't necessarily need it, right? Here's the price of Bitcoin before it blasted off into, all-time highs up in here. So same thing happened here, which is what? You have a rise, a crash, a retrace, reaccumulation. Here's the liquidity grab and then blast off, right? So this one was a descending channel, right? Descending. Let me actually draw it for real. And this one's kind of interesting because you had a liquidity grab on the upside and to the downside. It was a double fake out. So I'll put that right there. And basically, again, you have your bull market, your bear market, your retracement, and this is where it gets tricky right in here. And essentially, at the end of the day, it's just basically sideways. It's sideways. And just like we're seeing with XRP. But you can see here, we had this orderly, nice looking ascending channel, right? You have this big pump to the upside, you have this ascending channel, and then it looks like a bull flag, right? And then you break out and you're like, okay, we're going up, 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 up. And then bam, right to the downside. And what was the narrative behind it? C19. Remember back then? All the markets sold off, right? That was the narrative to the excuse, rather, to push that price back below. And why was it needed for that excuse? So that the rich and the elite and the wealthy and the powers that be, the people that don't care about you, don't care about me, only care about themselves and furthering their agenda, they needed to pack their bags at the very low. But they can't just pack their bags, right? They have to have not only a super low price, but they also have to have an influx of liquidity. And what do? They're like mountain lions. They're like, they prey on fear. And that's what it is. The market is greed and it's fear, and they prey on both, right? I don't know if you remember this day. I remember this day very clearly. And there was so much fear, so much uncertainty and doubt, right? FUD, right? FUD is a real thing. FUD, people say, oh, don't FUD, don't FUD. Well, FUD is real. It's fear, it's uncertainty, and it's doubt. And people feel that, and they make irrational decisions. And this is what happens. So you had a breakout. People went long. Then the market makers blasted the price back into the channel. People went long again because they thought, okay, it's in the channel, but then they took it below the channel, causing even more fear, and that's when the bull run started. So understanding this whole dynamic is sort of what we need to further the price in the direction we want. We're waiting for that sort of flash crash or liquidity grab before that big run up. It doesn't always have to happen. And a lot of times it doesn't happen. But this video is for the purpose of saying, hey, there's a big possibility that it can happen. And the purpose of this video is to say, if it does happen, don't do anything stupid, like sell all your bag and think, oh man, I screwed up. I made the biggest screw up of my life because I had a golden egg in my hand and I dropped it. I had a life-changing amount of wealth in my hand and I let fear destroy it by me selling that bag. So I'm basically taking you down the road of the psychological sort of feelings people have in these sort of events. And you can't understand it in hindsight, because when you look back, you go, yeah, that's a dump, that's a pump. But when you're actually living in this moment, and that's why I always suggest, having an emotional log, right? How do you feel when price is pumping to the upside? You feel great. How do you feel right now when the price is dumping? You feel not so good, right? As a hodler. But the biggest thing is not to react, but to wait. And if you have to figure out who you are. Are you a trader? Are you a hodler? Or, for me, I'm an investor, hodler, and trader. But for 90% is investing, hodling, and then the rest, 10%, is trading, right? So for me, it's all about the long road. I don't have to have it today or tomorrow, but eventually, it's all about building your position, Sometimes it takes years to build your position. Build. And when you have these major sell-offs, don't succumb to that fear and sell off, right? Not financial advice. I could be wrong, and this thing can, go to zero, and that's it. You lose everything. But do I think that's going to happen? No. I highly doubt that's going to happen. It might happen very well to the S coins out there, the top 1,000, top 2,000, top 500, but when you're talking about top 10, top 20, maybe even top 50, it's very rare that that happens. Now, Luna was a big thing that happened, right? And that's why you got to do your due diligence, your background checks on things, right? Everybody thought Luna was as clean as a whistle, right? It was too good not to fail. Well, sometimes when things are too good and too clean, something's going on, right? But not always. So that's the risk of investing. So, but basically, what I'm saying is, this right here is the same thing that happened to XRP, right? Right down here. It looks different, I agree, but it's still the same thing, right? Price is chilling on the trend line, about to blast off. But before it blasts off, it comes down here, it grabs all of it, all the liquidity, packs the bags, and then it says, okay, I'm ready to go, right? It's like the train is leaving the station, but then the train has to stop and turn around to go pick up that multimillionaire who keeps complaining, right? But he should have been on the train already, but he wasn't. And now he jumps on the train, and then now everybody else is leaving the train because they think it's never going to leave, and then it goes. So that's kind of how it goes, right? So what does all this mean? What does this mean in today's terms? Well, basically, I'm looking for the same thing here, so you have this move here, right? So here we go. I just paused the video and so I can turn the lights on so we can, identify the different phases of how it works, right? So you have this blue, obviously rise, pink or red, crash, yellow, retrace, gray, reaccumulation. And obviously we're working on this area here, which is the finishing of the reaccumulation. So when you turn the lights on, I need to take a screenshot of that because I think that is a very clear picture of what is happening at the moment. So, we are right at the finish line of something pretty big, if you ask me. We had this dump and then this big pump. So maybe we come down, we dump it, and then we come back up. And you know what the coolest part is? That would actually line up perfectly with the triangle, the contracting triangle idea, the same contracting triangle that Bitcoin did back in the day. And if you're wondering what I'm talking about, basically, you have an A, a B, a C, a D, and an E. And now, right now, we're working on that E wave, the final wave, the smallest wave too. So same thing here, A, B, C, D, and now we're working on E. Now E is again going to come down here, maybe, maybe not. This is just confluence in the idea we just had, right? So, every wave, like in wave A, we need 3. In wave B, we need 3. In wave C, we need 3. In D, we need 3. And now in wave E, we need 3, right? So let's see if we have 3 in E. We don't. We don't have 3 waves. So for example, we have 1, 2, and now what do we need? That third and final flush out. And that is going to freak everybody out. It's going to panic everybody. And this video is to make sure that you are aware of this upcoming potential situation that could very well occur, and you need to be smart about it. For me, I'm going to be buying if that happens. Most people you're going to see all across YouTube, all across Twitter, all across social media, the news, Bitcoin's down, all the market's down, it's a big sell. But that's when the whales say, okay, now's my time to absorb that. And you say, well, how does that fit into Bitcoin? Because obviously Bitcoin controls the market, right? Bitcoin controls the market. And I'll show you right there, but first I'll show you this three-way move here. And it's kind of hard to see because it's the weekly chart, but 1, 2, and then we had that third wave right down here. So 1, 2, 3, and then we left. And that's sort of, what we should expect now. Now, the interesting thing here, let me go back over here, is now I'm not saying this is going to happen, but what the interesting thing is, if you notice the bull market support band, so this orange band, you could see it's below it, above it, below it, above it, right? But if you notice over here, it has been constantly, lately it's been above it, and you could see it's been below it, above it, above it, then it came back down below it, and now it's sitting above it again. So if we break this bull market support band, a lot of people are going to be bearish, but I think it's just a three-wave move to the downside. So for example, another confluence is you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have a diagonal. That's a diagonal. It's a 5-wave move that is overlapping each other. And then what happens next? After 5 waves of Elliot wave, then you have an A, a B, and a C. And then you go to the moon. Now, does this mean sell your bag now and buy it all back down here? No. I would not do that at all, because this is just, that would be insane, because it can easily just sort of meander and then continue higher, and we may never get this big dump, right? That's a big risk if you do that. I would just take the existing extra capital you had and put it there. I would not sell it. Not financial advice at all. But for me, I'm not selling my XRP, not even a chance. Now, if we do come down here and we do get down here, and in hindsight, I could have said, yeah, I could have sold all my XRP, but you just don't know. I don't know. You don't know. Nobody knows, right? All we can do is compare and contrast previous situations, right? It's kind of like over here, it's not as pretty, but I don't even think it's, it doesn't make sense. I was going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C, but it's too choppy. It's too all over the place. This one's much more clear right here. So there's your contracting triangle right there. And then also your diag, right there. So taking all that off, and I'll just do this real quick, and then I'll show the price of Bitcoin and how that reacted in its contracting triangle. So there's your channel. Come back over here. Here's the channel, right? So now it's starting to, now look at that. Now it's starting to make, starting to look more clear. Now putting it on the 2-week chart even looks more clear. So again, a contracting triangle, something like this, right? And notice how it broke below look how it got right to the apex, and then it broke below the apex as a fake out, and then it went. So if I draw this line here, I'm not trying to go super perfect, but just for the purpose of this video, and then I plug it in right there. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. It does break below this area in here. So, or at least my drawing did, right? So A, B, C, we come down here, and then we finish wave E, finishing wave C, right? And then also breaking this trend line here, which will make everybody go crazy, right? Because everybody sees, the retail people see all this trend line saying this has to hold, has to hold. No, it doesn't. Trend lines are meant to be broken. If you're a multi-millionaire whale and you know retail is looking at that trend line, you know what do you want to happen? What you want to happen is you want to break that trend line to scare retail out of their position so that they can, one, give you their supply, right? Shake out the weak hands, right? And then also make people go short to create that liquidity. And then what they do is that then they'll buy it up, and then the move occurs, right? That big monster move. Now, again, I'm not saying that's got to happen. We can very well stay in this trend line and continue to work and grind our way out of here. But basically, no matter what happens, I think everybody should be excited. If you're an XRP holder, you should be excited because XRP is unlike any other coin when it comes to the chart. Because again, most coins went into their bull run. They went into new all-time highs, right? They went into brand new, fresh all-time highs. And XRP still hasn't broken its January 2018 all-time high. So that's 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. That's 7 years of sideways box, sideways base. The bigger the base, the higher in space. My friends, we have a 7-year base. Tell me which crypto coin out there on planet Earth has a 7-year base. I'll wait. I mean, XLM, right? Brother and sister. But what top 10 coin has a 7-year base? And by the way, you know why I'm really bullish on XRP? Because XRP, it is in the top 10, and it stayed in the top 10 despite not breaking the all-time high, and despite having a lawsuit, despite having exchanges delist the coin, it still stayed in the top 10. That, my friends, is strength. That shows tremendous strength. And then also, you could say, well, not breaking its all-time high, that's bearish. That shows weakness. And yes, at the time, right, it should have went and broken its new all-time high. But the lawsuit was the excuse for it not to break its all-time high. Instead, what did it do? It took the long way there. It's like, you know, if I'm in competition, like if I'm, I don't know, a baseball player, am I going to take a shortcut and take steroids and whatever and, you know, get up here? But then if I do that, once I get off the steroids, I'm going to fall down here. But XRP, it was all natural, 100% natural. It took the long way, right? Like, remember the movie Rocky? Rocky, you know, the Russian was in like this laboratory and had all the special equipment, all the steroids, the drugs, right? But then Rocky, he took the long way and he did it the right way. He did it the hard way. There's no excuse, right? There's no substitute for hard work. And basically that's what XRP did. It's been grueling pain, right? And those, you know, those who are loyal will be rewarded, right? It's kind of like, imagine you're with, I'm assuming most of my audience is male, but imagine you're with a woman and you're together with her and you don't really like her though. You don't really like her, but you do kind of like her. And you're kind of mixed feelings, right? But then you see some beautiful woman walk by and instead you dump her and then you go chase the more beautiful woman, right? But then, fast forward 3 years later, now you see that girl walking down the street She's in a brand new BMW or a Ferrari. She's looking mighty fine. She's looking beautiful than ever. She's got money. She's got, and then the girl that you were with, she just ended up dumping you. She dumped you, right? So the moral is you should have stuck with the one who cared about you in the beginning, because over time, this coin is going down and this coin is going back up. You see what I'm saying? It's kind of a bad example, but I think it's actually a good example, because a lot of people do that, right? They're with somebody, a man or a woman, then they end up leaving them for another person, and then years down the line they go, why did I do that? I should have stayed with that person, because they got their life together, and then also the person that I left for ended up dumping me, so I'm glad I don't have to worry about that. I'm happily married, and I don't have to jump around, and that's got to be stressful. Maybe not to some guys. Some guys love it, but for me, it's like, I'd rather just take it easy and not have to worry about it. So basically, what I'm trying to say is, don't dump this beautiful woman. She may not look so beautiful right now, but I'm telling you, she is in the works, and when she goes, she's going to look way better than any woman you've ever been with. I'm sorry, any other coin you've been with. So there you go. And I'll show you an example here with Bitcoin. Same kind of thing, right? Just it looks a little different, right? So you have a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, blast off. This is where XRP should have blasted off, right? But instead, XRP right here, instead of going, what it did is it came up and then it came back down, and now it's like this. It's right here, and it's like in that channel, and I'm waiting for that liquidity grab, right? I'm sorry, it's even more stretched out than that. So putting them side by side, you could see right here, XRP was supposed to go just like Bitcoin did, but instead it took the long way. Now it's way down here, right? So that would be the equivalent of sort of Bitcoin doing something like this, and then it's going sideways, right? So it's like right in here. So it hasn't broken this high, So basically XRP's down here, Bitcoin's up here. So of course, right? At the moment, you're like, yeah, I did the right thing by dumping her and going with her. But I'm telling you right now, eventually she's going to catch up, and in percentage terms it's going to be a lot better. So if you've been holding XRP all in here, or even all in here, you got to stick with it. You don't want to jump around, right? Not financial advice, but from my experience, I'll tell you many stories. Like, I was stupid to get rid of my Solana. I should have stuck with it, right? Not now. I'm saying in the previous bull run, Solana went up massively, and I sold it off, and I was like, man, I made my money, I'm out, but I should have stayed in it, right? And then another one was Chainlink. Man, that one hurt bad, right? I made a good amount of money, but I should have just held it. What's another one? There's a lot of them that I've ended up, getting rid of that I should have just held on to, right? But a lot of those, but you know what? You can't dwell on that, because all of the profits that I made with those, it could have been a lot more, but I think, in my opinion, it will make up for it tenfold, because all the profits that I took from those coins that I wish I never sold, I put it in things like XRP, low valued coins. So when XRP finally breaks out and goes on a monster bull run, which I believe is coming soon, right? Then at that point, I will be I will be reimbursed for the profits of what I could have had, if that makes sense. So, I mean, here's another example, which is XLM. I think it's going to do something remarkably similar as to XRP. And right now it's bullishly holding above the bull market support band, right? So I think a big move is coming. You can kind of see right before we blasted off, right? We had this sort of 1, 2, 3 wave move, right? Same thing here. We have this 1, 2, 3 wave move, and then we came all the way back down. Maybe we come back down, grab that liquidity, and then take off and go. So I think we're really close at the finish line. And you say, well, why would I want to be in XRP or XLM when I can be in, let's say Ethereum, right? Because Ethereum already made its move, right? So XRP, where's XRP at? Well, we had a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation. XRP's right here. So here's XRP, right? You have a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation. XRP's right here. Ethereum is way up here. So XRP has not broken its new all-time high yet, or let alone its retracement area, right? So if you match that up again with Ethereum, so here's Ethereum, you have a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation. Again, Ethereum broke this, right? Or XRP didn't break this. XRP didn't even break its retracement. But look what happened once it did. It went all the way up here, right? So it already completed its cycle. Rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, blast off. And now it's in another phase, right? Which is what? Rise, crash. Now it's in its retracement. Then it's got to go back for reaccumulation. Then it's got to go in sideways, and then it can go, right? So during this pump consolidation sideways action, I think a lot of money can rotate out of things like this that are in this sort of wave, this retracement wave, like Bitcoin, and cycle back into XRP, driving it to go much higher, right? Because when a big heavy whale sees his investment portfolio stalling out in retracement areas, what does he do? He rotates them into coins that are less risky, from a risk perspective, right? And I look at the risk perspective based off where it is on the Fibonacci scale, right? So, and I'll show you right now. So we will figure this out. So here's living proof right here. Check this out. So I'll take it right there, all the way down here. And I'll drag it over here, right? So where is Ethereum? Ethereum is smack in the middle between the 1 and the 1.272. Now remember that. It's right in the middle, right here. So now where is XRP? Where is XR? And by the way, Ethereum got all the way up to the 1.414. Let me make sure I have it perfect. Yeah, so a little above the 1.414, right? So remember that. Ethereum hit the 1.414, and now it is in between the 1 and the 1.272. Okay, remember that. Now XRP, so XRP is right at, would you look at that? Would you look at that? XRP is right at the 50. So let me ask you a question. What is more risky, in your opinion? Which one would you rather buy? And not just Ethereum. I'm talking many coins, many coins out there. They're all in the sort of same position. What would you rather have? A coin that is super undervalued at the 50, or remember where Ethereum was. It was in between the 1 and the 1.272, right? So where is that? Where is that? That's about a $6 XRP. Boom. So what would you rather have? What would you rather buy? XRP at 58 cents? Or, I'm sorry, 62 cents. I was looking at a different exchange. I'm not sure why that one said 58 cents, but maybe it is on that exchange. But look, XRP is at the 50. Ethereum is sitting right here, right about a $6 XRP. So what would you rather have? A 62-cent XRP or a $6 XRP? So let me ask you this. If XRP went to $6 today, would you buy it? No. So why would you buy Ethereum? Exactly. Why would you buy a lot of them? That's what I'm trying to say. So, and where did Ethereum go? Where did it go? It went above the 1.414, above $13. That's what I'm saying. Basically, Ethereum did this. It got all the way up here, and then it came back down, right? And now it's retracing back up. So it's right here. So Ethereum is right here. XRP is down here. So if you're a big whale, $10-20 million, your portfolio, and you're looking at this because they have 20 million, 10, they have that for a reason, because they understand things like this, right? And I hope to be at that level someday too, potentially, right? It's all about understanding, and that's why I'm sharing these videos, is so that you and everybody else can potentially learn from this and understand it. And I don't care if you don't like XRP, right? A lot of people find it controversial. It doesn't matter. We're talking about charts here. We're talking about money. Money is a common denominator amongst everyone. So regardless of what it is being traded, it doesn't matter. So again, XRP down here, Ethereum, Bitcoin, and all the others up here, right? So if you're a whale and you're seeing your portfolio go into a rise, crash, retrace, and now it's starting to go down into reaccumulation, what are you going to do? You're going to rotate into altcoins that have already been in reaccumulation, like XRP, which would then what? It would cause the price of XRP to then get back up into these levels. So you're looking at a $13, $14 XRP. If XRP did the equivalent of an Ethereum run-up, then you're looking at a $13, $14 XRP. And where we are right at this moment, right? Where we are right at this moment. So I'll put it right about there, right? Put a little box right there. This is our target right here. So, right, maybe we break this line, like I said, or, we have an A, B, C, and then we start to shoot on up here, right, and make it to the top, right? So, and that's sort of what I'm expecting. Now, Ethereum is already over here. So, what is it going to do? Do another big run? It's possible, but I don't think so, right? Because remember, XRP, XLM, they are a cycle behind. So, they need to play catch up. And what happened back in 2017, 2018? They saved the best for last. XRP Ripple was the last to run on that bull run, and it was the biggest showstopper. It blew everybody's minds, right? So people pile into XRP, but then they have to wait a grueling 7 years before, or even longer, right? We're still not there yet, for it to continue to go on up, right? So the best position you can be in is Bitcoin. Once Bitcoin gets up here, then you can rotate it into the alts, But for me, I was like, I did that somewhat, but for me, I don't mind waiting. I'm a patient individual. So if I take a fractal here, I know everybody's seen this before, right? I'm going to take it right here. I know everybody has seen this, right? But it applies in this moment. Let me get rid of that. So we can see the price come down here. And that's sort of, and look at that, the fractal, this cluster right here actually lines up with that what was it again? The 1.414, I believe. Yep, 1.414. It matched up perfectly. And look how high it went. It got all the way up to the 2. So if you take this fractal and match it up, that's a $90 XRP. Do I think it's going to hit $90? No. Or no, better yet, that at the very top, that's about $125 XRP. I really don't believe that will happen. If it does happen, I will be extremely, exquisitely, unbelievably, pleasantly surprised beyond belief to the moon and back, right? I would be shocked, but ecstatic. But you know what? The big target for me would be here, just like where Ethereum and everybody else hit. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to sell all my XRP when it hits that. Probably around, I don't know yet. We'll have to figure that out later. But, and, there's things where, like, a lot of people say, don't sell your XRP, you want to loan it out and all that. Well, yeah, I think so, too. I want to be in that position where, utility is driving the market, not speculation. And, when the crypto infrastructure, the payment rails and all the rails of the infrastructure are completely built out, and DeFi, and we're not fighting with Gary Gensler and the central banks, and everything's a level playing field, and utility is driving it, then yeah, that would be a good time to start, utilizing your crypto for lending it out and things like that. But anyway, that'll be a later time. But you can see here's the channel, right? And it broke below, same thing here. If we take that fractal, here's the channel, it broke below. What do you think? And then what do you have here? You have that liquidity grab. And potentially you have this liquidity grab and then a monster move to the upside. So there you go, guys. That shall do it for this video. Let me know what you think about that. Again, this is very exciting. You have a rise, you have a rise. You have a crash, you have a crash. You have a retrace, you have a retrace. You have reaccumulation, reaccumulation. You have the channel, you have the channel. You have the sideways accumulation, right? Then you have the liquidity grab. We're still waiting for that, right? So we have 2 steps to go. Now, between 1 and 2, I should say. It doesn't have to do that. Again, it doesn't have. It can simply do this, right? Come up here and then continue rocking it to the upside, right? And then But just what I'm saying is the purpose of this video is to look out for that. If that happens, don't be alarmed. Don't be scared. Don't sell your bag. Understand that, hey, this is supposed to happen, right? If it does. If it doesn't and we continue higher, then that's great. We don't have to deal with all of that panic and fear, right? So I think that should do it. Now, I didn't talk about the short time frame. If I go to the 8-hour chart, now if you look at the 8-hour chart, what do you see? You see a rise, you see a crash, you see a retrace, you see a reaccumulation. Now look at that, and look at this. You have that little channel. Isn't that interesting? It's a fractal. Fractals can be the size of an ant's leg or the size of a galaxy. It's all, relative, right? So according to this, we can see a dip right back down to the bull market support band, and then a continuation to the upside if we don't get that big major dump, right? And it might not happen. We might not get that dump, because you could see, look at all this beautiful support down here, right? So, we're building support, building support. We broke out. Don't look at this, because that's the SEC ruling, right? But you have all this beautiful support in here, and we essentially broke out, and here's our resistance, right? Resistance. We broke out. Now we're coming down to back test the resistance to make it the new support. But what I don't like is we're not getting the heck out of here. We're sort of just it's looking kind of like there needs to be some movement here. We're just we're testing it too much. Now, again, that's okay, because we can go back in history and I can show you this right here. I know I already said the video's over, but I got a lot of information. Why not share it? Look at this. We broke above here, right? We came down to backtest here, but then look what happened. Look how long that took, right? Look how long that took. Let's see. Let's measure that. That took about 70 days. That took 70 days of consolidating above the bull market support band. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. So take a mental screenshot of that, right? So you have this resistance, you break out of the resistance, you come down, you back test, then you go sideways on top of the back test zone and on top of the bull market support band, right? So going back to the current chart, it's the same type of thing, right? You have this resistance in here. We break out of the resistance. You come back down to back test the resistance, right? Obviously it looks different, but it's the same thing, right? You back test the resistance, and at the same time, not only you're back testing it, but you're also back testing and consolidating above the bull market support band, just like the example I just showed. And what happened after that? Boom, 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 and then boom, we went to the moon, right? So that could very well happen. We don't necessarily need to get an A, B, we don't necessarily need to get an A, B, and then C down here. We can easily just chill out and go. So either way, it doesn't matter, because I hold XRP, you potentially hold XRP, I'm assuming, because you're watching the video. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're looking to buy it. Don't buy it because I'm so enthusiastic, right? Buy it because you put the pieces together and, you want to figure it out, right? So for me, I see a beautiful thing unfolding, regardless if we come back down here or chill out on the side, right? Because all the directions up, 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 right? Now we could talk mega bear, and that'll be a different video, but basically the mega bear is this whole thing is an A, B, and a C down here, and then we go. And now that could happen, but I'm not going to entertain that at all until we break this low, right? If we start breaking below 33 cents, then we can talk about it. But until then, there's nothing to talk about except what we've just talked about for the last hour, which reminds me, I got to wrap this video up, right? Because if it's longer than X amount of time, people don't watch it. But I think, the more information, the better in some circumstances, as long as it's valuable information that helps people. And I think what I just shared is not necessarily being shared on social media or YouTube or whatever, right? I see a lot of YouTube videos about XRP, and you know, they're more or less about the same. So I'm trying to take a different approach, and hopefully it helps out. But thank you guys so much for watching the video. If you can, leave a like, subscribe, and I will catch you on the next one. Cheers.